And we're ready. Well, welcome everyone to the May 21st, 2024 meeting of the Board of Supervisors. If you please join me, we'll stand and pledge of allegiance with Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone. We have a full agenda today, including 5 presentations. The first begins, Board of Supervisors adopt a proclamation of appreciation that recognizes Older Americans Month to recognize and honor Trinity County older adults and their immense influence on every facet of American society. No fiscal impact. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to recognize and honor Trinity County older adults and their immense influence on every facet of American society. And whereas through their wealth of life experience and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant cultural and historical knowledge. And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagement, and many other activities. And whereas communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And whereas Trinity County must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting their commitment to inclusivity and connectedness. And now, therefore, Trinity County does hereby proclaim May 2024 as Older Americans Month. This year's theme, Powered by Connection, emphasizes the profound impact of meaningful interactions and social connection on the well-being and health of older adults in our community. We call upon all residents to join in recognizing the contributions of our older citizens and promoting programs and activities that foster connection, inclusion, and support for older adults. On this date, in the month of May 2024, Trinity County Board of Supervisors.
Move to approve as presented.
I will second.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Supervisor Cox.
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye.
Chairman Lutweiler.
Aye. Okay, and I don't think there's anyone here to present this to, but I'll present it to the chair of our PSA2 Area Agency for Aging, who asked us to help put this together for us. So there you go. Thank you. That's the first time I've read a proclamation for which I am included.
Just you?
Oh, are we there together? Okay.
We're there together.
Okay. All right. Next item, Health and Human Services Admin. Adopt a proclamation recognizing the retirement of Michael Catoni, Deputy Director of Health and Human Services. No fiscal impact. I will say I had the pleasure and honor of reading this in front of kind of all hands meeting for the Health and Human Services Organization. It was a great experience because been to a lot of things where people are retiring, but rarely have I seen such a complete and genuine response to an individual who has been there a long, long time. And sometimes too, when people rise through the ranks as Mike has, you know, it can leave a wake, and it can be a good one or a bad one. This has clearly been a very good one. So it was my pleasure then, it's my pleasure now. A proclamation of the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity recognizing the retirement of Deputy Director of Health and Human Services, Michael Catoni. Whereas Michael's distinguished career in public service commenced in 1985 upon his enlistment into the United States Navy, dedicatedly serving both nation and people until 1992. And whereas Michael has performed as an exemplary employee in the Trinity County Health and Services Department for over 25 years, founding a legacy of excellence for the next generation to build upon. And whereas on February 17th, 1999, Michael began his career with Health and Human Services as an Eligibility Worker 1, promoting through the classification series over the course of 6 years, serving the vulnerable citizenry of the county. And whereas on January 10th, 2005, Michael promoted to social worker in the Adult Protective Services Division, serving our county's elder and disabled population for 15 years. He promoted through the ranks of social worker 1, 2, 3, supervisor, and on August 1st, 2014, promoted as the first program manager within the Adult Protective Services Division. And whereas on August 1st, 2020, Michael was selected as the agency's deputy director, where he has provided distinguished and strategic leadership, amplifying the collective goal of caring for our community with dignity, compassion, and efficiency, while safeguarding governing laws and regulations. And whereas Michael has demonstrated tireless effort and responsiveness to the Office of Emergency Services during locally declared emergencies, aiding in crisis and subsequent long-term recovery missions, advocating and securing financial and operational resources for our county. And whereas Michael has served as a faithful union steward since 2001, representing the working professionals of the county through fair negotiation and contract development, in addition to serving on United Public Employees of California Local 792 Executive Board since 2003, holding officer as an auditor, county representative, and 6 terms as president, passing the baton in April 2024. And whereas Michael is a strong advocate of bettering oneself through personal and professional development and continuous learning, working as a college professor since 2008 to formally educate the next generation of human services workforce. And whereas Michael's quiet strength, calm disposition, and endorsement of technological advancement equally rivals his fun, adventure-seeking, backpacking, bike riding, heavy metal loving nature. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity commends Michael Catoni, Health and Human Services Deputy Director, for his years of dedicated service to the County of Trinity, and does hereby wish him a happy and healthy retirement.
Yay.
Duly passed and adopted this 21st day of May, 2024 by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity.
Motion.
Liz, did you want to come up and say anything?
Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Liz Hamilton, Director of Health and Human Services. And this is a bittersweet moment. Of course, we are just excited for this next chapter for Mike and wish him all the best. And the bitter part of seeing him go, he's meant so much to our agency. And I think the proclamation captures, just the essence of all that he contributes across the county workforce at large. We did get to have a special time with all staff last week. And Mike has just been a good colleague, an excellent colleague, friend, and mentor of mine. And so wishing you the best, and I'm just excited for you. And shout out to his wife, Deanna, who's also a former and retired county employee. I think there's a lot of the support that comes from home as well, because there's a lot of hours that go into this job. And so thank you, Deanna, as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Supervisor Leutwiler, for reading that proclamation again. And I really want to say thank you. I've been really privileged to serve the community, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I really want to thank Supervisor Leutwiler, the board, CEO Tuthill, all my colleagues in the county, both county government and our local partners. It's really been great to work with everybody, and I've been pretty privileged to work with a lot of different people. I especially want to thank Director Hamilton, Liz, who's also been a great mentor of mine and just an awesome leader. It's been great to serve with her. Also, my HHS team, some of them are behind me now, very supportive. And thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And of course, couldn't do any of this without my wife. So thank you, Deanna, for all your support over the years. And yeah, just thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And then Supervisor, I know that we had one more comment, if we have time for one more.
Sure.
Good morning, Chairman Leutweiler, Board. I am usually not a read from script person, but I figured I would read because might get choked up. Mike Catoni truly is a public servant and someone who's made a huge difference in Trinity County. A lot of people don't understand the work that goes into disaster recovery. It takes years and years of support and coordination from the jurisdiction. In 2020, not only was Trinity County building the plane while it flew for the COVID-19 response, but in August, Trinity was hit by the largest disaster in its history. 6 communities were devastated by the August complex, and walking into the response, we didn't even have a disaster declaration. As soon as Mike was added to the OES team, everything immediately started feeling less isolated for me and for the county and more coordinated. I remember requesting state OES and the MOAC for mutual aid. And 2 weeks later, we had no response. With the state hazmat teams ready to head to Trinity County, they would not come if we were not ready, and they would move on to another jurisdiction. We needed 3 environmental health people with hazmat training, and surrounding jurisdictions were involved in their own emergencies. I remember going to Mike's office and telling him my dilemma. He helped me reach out to leadership in 3 jurisdictions on a Friday evening, as hazmat teams were going to be here bright and early on Monday. We worked late into the night getting an MOU drafted on the fly, and to make sure that everybody was in agreement. He did this without hesitation. He's a salaried employee, so without any incentive or pay. And having his support, I knew that things were going to be okay. Anytime I've worked a disaster without cell service or other resources, I've known that I can get to a high point and text Mike a picture, and he would nicely put together a press release, and some text messages would go into that. Whenever I needed some heavy lifting, he literally has helped me move trailers worth of material to get something done in a pinch. Mike has pushed us into the 21st century with disaster response by getting us digitized for damage assessments, which will not only speed up the emergency declaration process by converting to the state recognized database, but shorten the very lengthy hours my team has to put into it, which will save us hundreds of hours over time. He has set the gold standard for long-term recovery, as he just completed the long-term recovery meetings for the August complex of 2020. A lot of people don't see Mike, but we are going to notice when he's not there. Thank you for all your very hard work and service to our county and to our country. Thank you.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I will second.
Supervisor Gogan,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Cox,
Hi.
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Chairman Leutweiler.
Aye. Right.
When we can catch a train.
You drove down there. That's huge. 1, 2, 3.
Can we just do one more?
With the group?
Move forward a little bit, let these other folks get in. Came all the way down.
I'm gonna put my copy in here.
You need a panoramic.
I know.
And look behind me. Ready? So heavy metal, is that?
Heavy metal.
That's Liz. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just shocked that they didn't want to all stay for the rest of the fun.
Yeah.
Oh. Don't worry about it, Ashley. Nobody, if they don't know who we are, then.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Item 3 in our presentations under Board of Supervisors is receive a presentation from Trinity County Visitors and Development Bureau regarding marketing, no fiscal impact. Hi.
Good morning,
All right.
Chair Lutweiler and Board. It is a privilege to be here today. I am Carla Avila. I am the Executive Director of the Trinity County Arts Council and a newly appointed board member to the merged and unified Trinity County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm here representing the TOT Joint Marketing Partnership Group. So just about 10 months ago, we were here before you and embarking upon a mission to invest together in the future of tourism for Trinity County. And in the last year, we have made quite a bit of progress in that unification process. First, we had an organizational restructuring where the Trinity County Visitors and Development Bureau and Trinity County Chamber of Commerce have unified into one formal organization, and that is actually being finalized this very month. So we have a newly formed body with a board that is designed to be inclusive of all TOT partners and also very inclusive of the whole geography of the county and all of the industry sectors involved in tourism. We have had well over 6,000 volunteer hours in the last 10 months and launched our first cohesive, unified marketing campaign. You will see in your packet the visuals to the Trinity County's Trinity Explore, Yes Trinity, and Trinity Where Wild Lives campaign. This was our first cohesive, strategized campaign between all the partners. We leveraged not only the funds, but all of our resources to be more efficient, avoid duplicative processes, and we're still refining all these things as we work together. But we have found that we have been able to effectively almost double what we can do with the same funding by being efficient and unifying our strategy. So after launching this first campaign, over the last year, we have actually seen incredible results. We have the second highest recovery rate across the state of California for tourism markets post-COVID. It's really exciting. On top of that, our actual tourism revenue is second highest in the state for last year's increase in 1 year. So we are already seeing a trajectory that is showing direct impact and direct results. We're seeing engagement online across all our websites and assets and social media channels also start to really see a new trajectory in growth. We know in Trinity County that when we work together, we can see these incredible results, but this is only the first 10 months. We also know we have world-class fishing, world-class hiking, world-class rafting, world-class chamber music, world-class art and products of all kinds. We have local independent businesses that are unique. We know that we have incredible character and a landscape of beauty that is really unparalleled. And now what we can have is world-class marketing for the tourism of Trinity County. And so you will see in the packet all of sort of the individual focus points that we worked on and tried to really unify and work cohesively on strategy towards. However, I'd really like to spend the majority of the presentation today showing you the work product of where the cohesive marketing strategy for tourism is going. Because as you know, the proof is in the pudding. And so without further ado, I'd really like to introduce our new Director of Marketing Tourism for Trinity County. We have had a really successful search and are very excited about the future of tourism for all of us. And so here to present our tourism marketing strategy, Trinity County's new tourism marketing director. So Rob, would you please come up?
Good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
my privilege to be here, and thank you, Carla, for that warm introduction. It's really an honor to build a brand and I got to tell you that this past year has been tremendous. From talking to our friends at Visit California, we have got major momentum going into this year. Already we have got $74.1 million in tourism-based spending in the county this year. And 5 million of those are going to taxes. So this is data that I've just gotten from Visit California. So it's such a, that already the work that has been done in the previous year is starting to take its own momentum. And it's very exciting for me to be here to shape the narrative of why Trinity County is different. I've also been in conversations with some of our brothers and sister counties nearby, and they are also very, very keen to collaborate with us. Yesterday, I met with the Shasta folks, and they also want to do, we want to be able to take visitors who are going to Redding and some of our neighbors to come here. So that is also in the works. So we'll be doing, in addition to the plan that I'm going to be sharing with you, we're also going to be doing like email marketing campaigns where we can focus specifically on the businesses in Trinity and get people to come here while they are going to the coast. So anyway, and first and foremost, Ashley, would it be possible to get on the screen the presentation? Thank you. So there's three major categories. So here's the proposal. And if you just go through it.
It was going slow for a second.
Sure. So we've done some market research, and we found that one of the key problem is of awareness of Trinity County. Many of the people in the region have not been, they know of Trinity, but they are not really sure as to what to do, where to go. It's one of those things where either they do not know or they do know. So the solution is to build a customer or tourism-centric website, as well as campaigns and leveraging social partnerships and influencer marketing to really drive growth in the area. But we are also looking for, positioning Trinity with its own strength. Carla, next page, please. Oh, sorry, Ashley. So in my conversations with a lot of Trinity businesses, leaders, have kind of come to like, this is what the brand development strategy could look like, where our audience is going to be between 20 to 50 women, men, couples, and families who are right now struggling to go to busy places for their vacations. Oftentimes when Californians or even Americans are going on vacations, they're going to places that are really busy, really cluttered, full of traffic, full of, even when they go to Disneyland, it doesn't seem like Disneyland anymore because they have to wait forever to get on a ride. And so in a amazing way, we offer a perfect solution to all these travelers. So some of the key benefits that Trinity offers has iconic small town charm combined with mountain adventures. There's a lot of history in the area and with Gold Rush themes. There's also the unique shopping events specific to holidays that people can get excited about. And of course, it is one of the places that doesn't have all the crowds, and it's family centric. So those are just some of the key benefits of Trinity County. Ashley, next page. So these are some of the positioning lines which we are thinking about for future campaigns, which is Trinity changes you. So for those travelers who are trying to get away from the busy stress of life, Trinity is the perfect antidote. And then we also have like those hardcore enthusiasts who love the great outdoors. And for them, the messaging for future campaigns could be recreate yourself through self-discovery. And then for even more thrill seekers, we'll have more campaigns in the line of accelerate your adrenaline. And then for those who are looking for a spiritual reconnection, we're going to go with campaigns around the lines of a connection beyond words, because I think human beings actually need all these elements, and we're going to find ways of expressing the uniqueness of Trinity using these words and campaigns. The additional goal of our digital presence is going to be Trinity is better than Tahoe. Truthfully, when we look around, you'll see that we have actually got a lot to deliver in that promise. We have a lake, we have a lot of water, we have a lot of fresh air. There's a lot of goodness, the mountains, that actually positions us better than Tahoe. Trinity is better than Bay Area. Trinity is even better than Oregon. Like there's a lot of Californians that are now going to Oregon for their vacations, and we would like them to come to Trinity. And then Trinity is obviously better than those people who have really become frustrated with taking a vacation to visit Trinity. Because a lot of Americans are kind of saying, hey, it's getting busy and crowded everywhere. I'm just going to stay at home with my family. And we would like them to visit us. So those are just some of the key elements for the digital campaigns.
I just want to pause for a second. Did we mean to skip by one of the slides?
No. I think we missed one of them. 1 to 4.
We went 2 and
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So the campaigns are going to work on 2 levels. One is going to be driving the awareness for Trinity and the great things that it offers. The second is going to be conversion campaigns. The conversion campaigns are going to feature our businesses so that it isn't just going to be like a lot of our competitors are delivering out there, which is beautiful pictures, but we are actually going to, as a community, deliver packages specific to nature lovers, to guys who want to go on a guy bonding trip, women who want to have a women getaway, and families with young children who want to bring their kids here to learn about the history, to do stuff. So we're going to, and additionally for wine lovers, for food lovers, for photography lovers, for people who like to have like Dude Ranch experiences, you name it. We have a lot in Trinity County. And now we're going to partner with our businesses to tailor messaging so that when a visitor wants to come to Trinity, they can actually easily book a package. And it isn't just, oh, I want to go there, but it's like, this is how you can do it. And that's where the digital experience is going to come in. Our new website is going to make it easy for them to choose a package and book for a week, book for a month, book for however many people. And it'll make it, we're looking at it from a customer point of view. So we want to make it really easy for them to self-identify what their interests are and to make those reservations. Additionally, I've had some luck in my previous roles doing some collaborations with a lot of Bay Area sports teams, and they have raised from up and coming soccer teams in the Bay Area to NHL teams and the NFL team. So I think down the road, there's a lot of collaboration possible between where the eyeballs are residing. So a lot of the sports fans right now who are, really involved in following the sports teams, we can do collaboration with their social. So our social can then be featured on their social, and vice versa. Additionally, recently I got a $6.5 million deal with the San Jose Earthquake soccer team for about $135,000. And what that meant is that in that partnership, it was for a bread company, is that up and coming US soccer players could even talk about that food product, saying, hey, I eat this bread, it's really good. And now we can get those up and coming American soccer players to talk about where they take a vacation. Additionally, we could get partnership with other companies that are already partnering with like US soccer, such as Coca-Cola. And we could do email marketing with them and promotions where we could highlight some of our businesses and, do a getaway promotion. So there's a lot that can be done, where, I kind of feel that we're not limited to just one or two things. Actually, next slide, sorry. Yeah, this is sort of, I already mentioned this, that, Trinity is more than just Tahoe. A lot of people in Northern California feel Tahoe is the only place they can go. Well, now Tahoe has gotten really crowded, congested. There's a lot of traffic going in, a lot of traffic coming out. I'm not sure if it's a viable destination for people to have vacations anymore. And we want to give people who are going there now an alternate destination. In fact, right now, I've also been talking to Google about making our communication be more disruptive to those travelers so they consider us. So hopefully by next meeting, I will have a plan from Google about how we can do some campaigns where we get our messaging in front of those travelers. Ashley, the next slide. Some of the areas that I would love to focus on sooner than later is SEO marketing. The SEO marketing, it requires a lot of content. So having blog for our new website isn't just visualizing it as a blog, but visualizing it as like a destination getaway magazine with large windows for pictures and really good writing about many things that people can do here. That would be something that we are going to be starting pretty soon. We have so much beauty here that, videos and video marketing would be another way to leverage the experience of being in Trinity County. The third thing is social proof videos. So I've already met and spoken to a lot of people in the community who love doing outdoor activities, whether it's hiking. I've met some amazing fishermen. I met, Ryan, who loves to water ski. I mean, I met so many interesting people, and their stories are so deep and enriching that I really want them to be influencers for that activity, because when they're talking from their heart, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to resonate with that message. Additionally, I've also set up a partnership yesterday with Reading and some of the social channels in Reading who would love to feature those social proof videos. So we will immediately get eyeballs to those videos, those influencer videos. And then I'm going to do what we have done with technology marketing sometimes. It's called like ebooks. So, used to be when you walked into the visitor center, you would get a brochure. Now we're going to give them even something more stylized and kind of like thought leadership about each activity they can do here, kind of like product marketing. So it's like, if you really want to go, into fishing, you can either download our ebook about fishing, or you can get the brochure. But the brochure is going to be an experience. It's not going to be your typical brochure with just a few facts and figures, but it'll have real thought leadership about why people want to fish specifically here. And then, of course, one way to broadcast on social media and get more eyeballs is through live events. And I know we have been doing a lot of live events, but we now have to leverage social to get even more people gaining access to it. Instagram, Meta, LinkedIn, all these platforms, when we do live events, open up, like we don't have to pay for it. And we get access to more people viewing our content, our events. So, there's more music festivals, et cetera, that are taking places here. So we're going to start broadcasting that stuff. Sorry, next page. There's some more stuff about the audience, because our audience, they haven't, some of them haven't quite discovered us. And just like me, I think, who has fallen in love with the place, I don't think it's going to be that difficult to win them over. Some of the stuff that we do have to do is we will have to do the digital campaigns. So, we'll have to target using social media and SEO friendly articles that are going to get people to discover the charm and beauty of Trinity. Next page, Ashley. The visitor center services and amenities. This is a very important area. A lot of people go here, and that is also a gateway into the Trinity brand. And I know that there's a lot of hard work our volunteers have been doing there tirelessly, and I want to arm them with even more stuff. So these brochures are going to be some of the stuff that you get, but I also want to turn that into a Trinity brand experience. Like when you go into the visitor center, I want someone to just be awed about what they can do in all seasons. Part of the struggle that I've heard from some of the business owners is that seasonality. Well, what if when someone goes in there, they're getting facts, a new kind of map that actually shows them all the various things that are happening in Trinity, rather than a generic map. But hey, this is what you can do. This is what you can, where you can go. And then additionally, you have some signage near the visitor center, because right now, even when you're driving at 25 miles per hour, it's easy to miss that beautiful building. So have to figure out a way where, someone can say, oh, that's where the visitor center is, or have additional signage on that amazing highway where we can point out to them, hey, visitor center so many miles ahead, or great fishing 5 miles to the left, or great hiking this way, or great mountain biking this way. Just small little signs, because right now when people are going across the coast, they're in a rush to get to the ocean. And we want to make sure that if they're in a rush, please, on the way back, they can stop by, or the next time they're going there, they can plan on doing an active stop here. So that's where this visitor services and amenities becomes very, very important. Actually, next slide. Community engagement. So I know there's a lot of different groups that are part and committees. I want to make sure that I'm collaborating with all of you. And hopefully, please, I do want to meet with all of you and make sure that I understand both the challenges and the solution. I wanted to be the person that can take the roadblocks that your business or community may be facing right now, And to facilitate that, I also have a bunch of really good art directors and video editors to help you build any kind of brand that you want to build and keep attracting more businesses. Additionally, for community engagement and for our business owners, I'm actually putting together another ebook or a brochure about how to accelerate your business. And I'm just getting it designed after sharing it with a bunch of business leaders, so that it's something that all businesses and in every community in Trinity County can access right away and start utilizing. And additionally, if they have any kind of roadblocks, I'm here to help them, and have had a lot of conversations about a lot of different things. So we will solve all of this together. Ashley, next slide. Once we get these campaigns started, there's going to be a blended approach. So it's blended, meaning it'll have both organic and some paid, so that we can find out which of these campaigns that we're running are successful, and then we can see how we can get them to be even better. So that's the measurement and optimization strategy. Ashley, the next slide. Yeah, the peaks and shoulder season. This is a very important part. We really want to come together as businesses and a community to find new events and activities that take place even in the shoulder seasons that we can highlight. There's been so much support, and so many business owners already have so many interesting ideas, whether it is like marathons during the peaks, off-peak season, to different kind of events and activities. And I'm open to listening to more and empowering those kinds of events so that people keep coming back, not just in the summertime, but throughout the year. Gorilla, it's an interesting name, but there's a lot of stuff going on around Trinity County. Whether it's in Shasta, whether it's in Reading. Like in Reading, there's an upcoming film festival. And I want to make sure that those people who are going to these like different kinds of activities, whether they're students in Humboldt or they're, aspiring, they love movies and stories in Reading, I want them to consider us. And so we can do campaigns specific to niche audiences at a very reasonable cost, and get them to get something and say, oh, wow, I never thought about going to Trinity for this thing. And we could even start thinking about doing summer or winter or Shakespeare festivals, et cetera, ourselves. So it's just a beginning. But Gorilla is, how can we make an impact where there's cultural or community gatherings outside of Trinity, and then get them to consider us. So this is information directly from Visit California. I've spoken to them, and they've been very, very excited because we have been crushing it. According to them, our numbers, when we compare to our budget, is actually better than our brothers and sister counties. So this is kudos to you and to everybody who has been working here. So we are already like crushing it. Like 74.1 million of travel-related spending in the last year, 5 million in local tax revenue, and this is all from all the hard work that has already been taking place. So now this is something that we have to celebrate. When I was talking to our neighbors from Shasta, they're like, they have a bigger budget, but they don't have this kind of conversion from organic. So now we're going to keep. Now is the time to continue to, we're going to invest in the brand. We're going to invest in specific tools to get customers coming here, the website, the content marketing, the social, and also for our business, like getting our business to feel empowered that they, a lot of the business owners that I've spoken to are wearing so many different hats. I want to make sure that they can come to us and me, and I can make sure that they can get like a newsletter, a new kind of newsletter to a lot of their customers. One of the hotels has over 5,000 emails from customers that come during the summer, but we're now going to get them to use newsletters about exciting things to do in the winter. And I know it seems like a small thing, but this is like, those are the things that we are building relationships with people who are coming into our county to keep coming back. Yeah, so this is our share of the regional spending is still small, but this is also an upside. That means we can actually, given our current trajectory, we can get more of that share from our neighbors, including through collaborations, so that more people who are going to our neighborly destinations can now also consider us when they're planning their next trip.
Oh, I think you went too.
So this is, again, a wonderful graph from Visit California. So as you can see that we're actually right now having a banner year for tourism in the county. And it's something to be celebrated, and we will only take it up a couple notches from here. This shows data specific to accommodations and food services. Our food services has been really crushing it. And, when I'm in Weaver, I love the food here. I just think that we maybe, we will eventually grow into more restaurants. But this is all data coming from Visit California. So these are the budgets that we have right now that we're working with. Trinity is, given our budgetary constraints, we have really been crushing it. And our neighbors have bigger budgets. So anyway, we are going to be investing more in the brand, investing more in the digital experiences, and also in signage and a few other things that are going to make a huge difference. Yeah, so we have 30, 60, 90-day plans for developing content, bring a new website that is mobile friendly, and then also doing segmented marketing for audiences that are looking for specific experiences. So those are all going to be part of it, as well as digital video. Yeah. And next one. I mean, these are all points in the presentation. So here's some example of some campaigns that we can run with a new logo. I've been working with some really talented art directors to develop new clean logos for us. I mean, I'm kind of establishing us, Trinity, as a new getaway for people who are tired of going to Tahoe, people who are tired of going to Napa and Sonoma, and those people who are just like, where do I go? Well, we are the next place you got to go. And so that logo is kind of going away from, it's like a new clean expression of what this brand stands for. And these are just a few of them. Wilderness Awaits with a beauty shot of the mountains. We have, this is for people who would like to hike. So, there's a new logo, kind of type treatment for specific audiences, so we can try some of these different things. But these are just like visual explorations about how we can really own the premium brand that Trinity is. Fishermen, people who want to get in the water and get away, studies have shown that when people are in nature, in an area like Trinity County, that we actually physiologically, our cortisol levels drop, our pulse rate drops, like we live longer. And so like this is just an example of why people will be interested in coming here. And of course, it's endless beauty. So I truly think that there's a lot we can do in different kind of campaigns for different audiences. This is just one expression. I love this logo of a guy with a motorbike. It could even have, the side thing with his lady or partner in it. But it's like, it's like a very Art Deco kind of a visual, but it positions Trinity as a getaway destination, but in a very premium way. And these are just examples of the brand campaign. And then, once I have more conversation, and I will definitely need the help of all the volunteers and the business owners to put together those packages so that, the awareness campaign is over here, but then what? Then we get these other campaigns where it's like, hey, I want to get this kind of experience when I'm on that trip, so that it'll be transactional. They can actually make a booking, put in their credit card number. This is something that Laura has been so keen about, and I really love the fact that we already have a lot of people coming for our mountain bike races. So this ad that you're looking at is going to be in the Enjoy magazine that's probably coming out this upcoming weekend to promote our mountain bike races. It has a QR code. People can just scan it. And we're going to be doing more things like that. Actually, the next slide. So this is an example of, for that same event, a campaign for social media. And our friends in Reading are going to be running this in like a matter of days. I spoke to them yesterday, and they can't wait to promote this. So we'll have 30,000 to 40,000 people looking at this week. They just fell in love with the visual. As you can see, I had like an art director help me, and the visuals are very clean, very engaging. And this stuff, we're also, through the use of hashtags on social media, we're going to own mountain bike across USA. And I think this is just one example of what we can do with all categories, all adventure themes, where we can do campaigns such as this on social, organic and paid, to drive awareness and also bookings for specific events. So that's more in the making. This is the new logo, one of the new logos. I love the clean aspect of it. And I also am trying to develop an even shorter logo for social, because sometimes we need to figure out, what on social, when you have just like a split second, like 3 seconds to get someone's attention, is it just going to be the mountain peaks? Kind of like Nike has that swoosh. So it's still it's a brand that we're in the making, but we are going to have for social slightly different variations on the logo, and we'll see what is going to work, because we are a premium brand. So anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I really look forward to working with all the communities, all the different members and the memberships that are part of this, and also with all of our business owners, because I really want to, once again, remove all the roadblocks that they have faced or maybe facing today, so that they can continue growing their businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll hold on just a second, we may have some comments or questions.
Thank you very much. I do have a few.
Heidi was.
Go ahead, Heidi. No, absolutely. Go ahead.
First of all, thank you for your enthusiasm. I'm excited to come here, and I'm already here. So that's great. And I also really appreciate the Trinity logo that you made. I like the little swoosh on the R. It makes me think of water. And so, and then also just the line cuts feel like there's a little historical presence there as well. So I appreciate that a lot. How would businesses get in contact with you to become part of that packaging option?
They can email me or call me.
Okay.
I'm happy to schedule meetings. I'm also coming here, and I'm usually up here for an entire week.
Okay.
Because I really feel that it is very important that I help a lot of our businesses, because there are so many innovative business owners in Trinity County, and they're doing a lot, and they're doing it all pretty much by themselves. So like, I want to make sure that they have not just me, but if they want access to a photographer, or they want to make like one business owner, Straw House, like they want to do videos around there, and they want to reposition them in a different way. And they're like, we I don't know who to hire or what do I do? So I'm like, I can get you that, I can make sure that it's also done in the right way that helps them. And so it takes some of the worry away. So yeah, they can definitely call me or email me.
Okay. Yeah, because my district is downriver, so all of the rafting and the campgrounds and the ranch in Salyer and many of those little tiny towns along the way all have amazing adventures connected to them. So I just want to make sure that the folks in my district have the opportunity to tap into these resources.
Heidi, and additionally, with Laura and myself, like I'm actually planning to go to all parts of Trinity and get to meet a lot of those businesses because it's like I actually want to meet them, because then they feel like I can understand, where they feel they're, feeling challenged the most, and then we can work together to solve that.
Okay, well, if you need me to help facilitate a tour, I would be more than happy to.
Absolutely, thank you.
And one follow-up to her thing, I know that also, as Carla mentioned, that you now have on the Visitors Bureau board, the newly formed board, representatives from each of the chambers and such, right? So these chambers who already have connections with a lot of these small businesses would also be another conduit for the things that you're developing, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, it's very important that we collaborate together and identify, it's such an exciting time. It's such an exciting time to be working together. I mean, we have the actions that, all members here have already taken is already bearing fruit. Now we just have to keep working on it to make it better and better and learn from it.
Supervisor Gogan?
Well, thank you for a very thorough presentation. I appreciate that. One of the things just came to my head while you were presenting the photos there was horse and carriage. I think that's lends credence to our longevity, where we came from. The mining, was the original thing that kind of happened here 100 or 1850s or so. And if you need any help with the fishing guide industry, like Heidi, I was a guide for 30 odd years and did 3,000 or so trips on this river. So I'm pretty connected there with the guide still. Also, I think that we do have a much higher chance of getting people here. When I look at Tahoe or think of Tahoe, I think, very crowded, but they got a lake. Not so overwhelming to me. Here, we are the wilderness. We are the forest. We're wild here. We have wild everything, animals, elk, bear, you name it, we got it. I do have, being a season ticket holder to the San Jose Sharks, I've made some good connections there, and same with the 49ers. My brother played there for quite a long time. So I do have some connections there that could be helpful. You may have better ones, so that's fine.
Liam, it can all work together.
Yeah,
I thankfully, so a couple of years ago for the Sharks, I did 3D emojis for each of their players. I cold called them and we built them. The company I was with built like 3D. So every time a player would score a goal, that emoji would come on the Jumbotron. And we built an app where the fans could download that app and make that emoji do something or the other. It became a viral hit for 4 years. So they're happy to talk to us about anything. We could even do events. We could even turn a major playoff game into a micro Trinity in a stadium. Like, Scott, we're not limited in any way with what we are capable of.
great. We need to get the Sharks back in that playoff
Sure.
hunt, though. They're very far from it now. But they will be back. One of the things too that I kind of wanted to emphasize as a guide, kind of a key point was from pretty much anywhere, Bay Area, Oregon, or Southern Oregon, Tahoe, we can be here. You can be here on a Friday night, have 2 days of great fun here, be home Sunday night, not miss a day of work. And that's an important thing to a lot of people, especially in this economic environment that we're in now. And I do think that we have all the things that you showed in your presentation, but we do have a few things, especially in my district, that have not been explored yet, and that would be cannabis tours, glamping there, and then swimming in the South Fork, jumping off rocks in the South Fork, things that people just do not to get to do in a regular place like Tahoe. We have that. I think it's very underused right now, or not used at all. And I think that would be a big help to a portion of just getting people here. And once you get them here once, I know this through my guiding business, they will come back. We are unique, that they will be here, and we have a lot to offer. So thank you for the presentation. I wanted to thank Carla also for being kind of the impetus of this with all her great presentations and getting this kicked off. It took a lot to get us to where we sit now, and the future looks bright. I got a load of faith in you, and we'll be great. We already are great. We just need a little kick.
Thank you, Liam. I'm so excited to be collaborating with you, and I will be needing your advice for getting the guides and some for the fishing. Love to know, if you have additional people in your network who could be fishing influencers for us, because it's such a sophisticated, framework of people. Like fishing is not like, most people don't understand how sophisticated the fish is, and to catch the right fish, it is such skill, strategy, and knowing, how to, each fish is different. It's so interesting. And yeah, I'd love to, identify a few more people, Liam, that could talk about the different aspects of fishing and what they get out of it that we can leverage on all of our channels.
And you stayed in Indian Creek when you're here?
I've been, I've stayed in Ryan's place. And Katie's place.
If you do stay in Indian Creek, lean on Corey. He's an unbelievable, knowledgeable person about the fisheries in this county.
Okay.
Really, really knows a lot.
Okay.
And the manager owner / of Indian Creek. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Supervisor Cox, no?
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, Jill.
Appreciate that you are here. And I also just do want to say that I appreciate that you highlighted with some numbers for us the work that this team did last year and showed the results of their hard work, and appreciate that you're picking up and leveraging that moving forward. I think that was really important and appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you.
Supervisor Frazier?
Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to acknowledge too that we had delivered to us a Trinity Transient Occupancy Tax Partners Report. So it goes into even more detail about the funds that were raised, allocated, how they were used, the impact. So thank you for that. That's great. I did want to mention, you commented about the motorcycle with the sidecar. We actually have a local who rides around with the sidecar and his dog with the doggles on. So if you need a picture, we'll get that for you. We have paragliding, and I don't know if you know about that. We have alpaca farms. So you'll continue to learn through all of the organizations, all the things that we have. And it's just great to have that focus here and to build upon, as Supervisor Cox said, the work that's been being done, just kicking and dragging, because it was all volunteer. It was all hard fought fundraising. And now there's some momentum that you can build upon, which is great. I did want to make one comment. You probably have already thought about this, but when I saw recreate yourself, I immediately jumped to the dual purpose of that, of recreate yourself. So I assume that you guys are going to play on that. I sure hope so, because that would play very well, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our fourth presentation, Board of Supervisors receive a presentation from the Trinity County Fire Safe Council regarding programming and ongoing hazard mitigation planning efforts. And I will say this is, thank you, Skylar, for presenting to us today. This is part of a process that we've been undertaking to try to be somewhat intentional about the presentations that we are arranging. And so as we come into fire season, I've already been getting the watch duty alerts about some vegetation fires around, at least somewhat in our areas, that we have this kind of reminder of what is available to us, what's being done on our behalf, but also what we can do for ourselves and take advantage of. So I appreciate you with not a whole lot of notice coming to us and providing this update in such a timely manner.
Yes, thank you, board chair and supervisors, and then those of us in the room and on Zoom. My name is Skylar Fisher, and I work with the Trinity County Resource Conservation District as our County Fire Safe Council Coordinator. So Chair Lutweiler was right on the nose. Right now, May is Wildfire Preparedness and Awareness Month, so I appreciate the invitation to talk about our Trinity County Fire Safe Council, what we're up to this year, what programs are available for residents, and also all the awesome work that's already been achieved. So without further ado, I will just dive on in. Love clickers. Okay, so what is the mission of the County Fire Safe Council? So the Trinity County Fire Safe Council was started in the late 1990s as a collaborative effort between various local, state, and federal stakeholders, VFDs, non-governmental organizations, and residents who had a vested interest in reducing Trinity County's wildfire risk, or who were land managers looking to improve wildfire management throughout the county. So those efforts have been carried on for the last quarter century in that the Trinity County RCD has maintained the Fire Safe Council, but also monthly coordination meetings. This month's being this Thursday. I like to say it's the best meeting of the month, but I'm biased. To create a space for those interested, those local, state, and federal stakeholders, residents, it's an open to the public meeting, to discuss projects that are being implemented on the landscape in wildfire season, to discuss any ongoing incidents and any other efforts related to wildfire risk reduction. So, for example, in the last few meetings, there's been conversations about the county vegetation management ordinance. So beyond hosting a monthly meeting place for that sort of coordination and collaboration to make sure everybody's on the same page, the County Fire Safe Council also has multiple programs that we coordinate to the benefit of the county residents. So on the screen, we have just a few of our programs, opening up with Neighborhood Ambassador Program, which looks to support neighborhood level, either fuel reduction, evacuation planning, or wildfire risk education and outreach efforts. So the photo in the bottom left of the screen shows an event that we supported last year around this time in the Rush Creek area. So our neighborhood ambassador for Rush Creek approached us and said, there's this property, myself and my neighbors are a bit concerned. There's an accumulation of fuels, but we don't know who owns it. We're kind of needing some support in the coordination and outreach of this. So we said, okay, we'd love to help you. So we figured out, who owned the property, figured out any environmental review to make sure we stayed in compliance, got the allowance to work on the property. We have some neighborhood ambassador tools. So we lent that to the neighborhood ambassador and those supporting the event. And then we also supported in outreach and coordination for the day of implementation. So that event was a success. So far this year, we've had a Scotch broom pull in Trinity Village, and then we had an event last Thursday in Coffee Creek, which was pre-chipping prep, and then we have another Rush Creek event planned for next weekend. So we're really excited by how energized our neighborhood ambassadors are and that we're able to support them in whatever capacity that they need support to get these neighborhood level fuel reduction projects implemented. And we're always accepting new applications for neighborhood ambassadors. So if there's something that you need support on, please reach out. In addition to our neighborhood ambassador program, we also have our local area advisor program. So our local area advisors are community members who are familiar with the landscape, been in Trinity for a little bit, and want to represent their community when there's a hazard event. So far, our advisors have been activated when there is a wildfire event. So an example would be during the South Fork fires last year, our South Fork Mountain and Hyam Palm advisors were activated. So they were included in the cooperators meetings to provide the landscape perspective, represent their community's interests, and kind of answer questions about their perspective and provide that sort of input. So anyone can apply to be a local area advisor. We have information on our website. You can call. I always like to wear my staff shirt when I talk to you since my phone number is on my back, but I'll show the contact on the screen later. But the process for being appointed as a local area advisor, because it is by board appointment, is through filling out the initial application. Then you would be reviewed and need to be recommended by your community's fire chief. And then the fire chief would let us know whether or not they approve the applicant to be an advisor. Then we forward that recommendation, if they are recommended, to the County Office of Emergency Services emergency manager, who then does the final review and then forwards it to the board to be on the board agenda for board appointment. So similar to the neighborhood ambassador, we're accepting applications for all communities. So at this point, we would really like to see having like a main advisor and also an alternate advisor for each community, which we're filling out and having at least one advisor for many communities in the county. I think only Lewiston has both a main and an alternate. So if you're interested or you know someone who could be a good representative during these times of hazard events or emergencies that you think could really represent your community's interests in these cooperators meetings, please forward them our information. An additional program that the Fire Safe Council offers to residents is our Wildland Fire Home Assessment Program. So this is through offering free home and landscape assessments by either our staff or what we prefer to do is partnering with our local VFDs so that they can provide free home assessments. So that is looking at the structure, seeing if it's home hardened, making recommendations, and then also looking at that 0 to 5 feet from the home, the 5 to 30 from the home, and then the 30 and beyond, and some emergency access considerations. And the reason why I say we prefer for the VFDs to do this isn't because I don't love going out and looking at people's properties, but is actually because we're trying to come into contract with VFDs across the county so that we can pay them for their time, a stipend to perform those home assessments. So we like to market it as, you get a free home assessment and then you're also donating $100 to your VFD from us. And so far we have the Lewiston and Trinity Center VFDs under contract, and they've already performed some home assessments this year. But we're hoping to go down to Hayfork this weekend and work with some folks with the Hayfork VFD. And we've been in communication with the Downriver VFD to get some more VFDs trained and into contract to perform more home assessments. In addition, the Fire Safe Council coordinates 14 Firewise communities across the county. So what is a Firewise community? So these are communities that have a Firewise board and meet an annual investment requirement. And so this investment is based on the number of structures located within the Firewise community. And an investment can be made through, if you do, I don't know, like 3 hours or something preparing for pre-chipping, or if you're doing some other sort of fuel reduction on your property. If you notify us and you say, I live in the Weaverville Firewise community, then we can track that. Or if you pay a contractor like Silvertop to do some limbing and taking the brush away, that financial investment can also be tracked too. We got some great input from a recent community meeting to create an application, so you don't just have to call me and tell me, and that you can just kind of do it online or pick up an application from the RCD office, which we're currently working on, because we find that celebrating all of those little things that you do that really add up to reduce your wildfire risk. That's like one of our goals here, is to make it easy and to celebrate the work that residents are already doing. And so why do we maintain these Firewise communities? Well, it's great to meet that investment requirement because it shows that we're investing in reducing wildfire risk across our 14 communities in the county. But in addition, there are certain Firewise community insurance discounts that you can be eligible for if you live within a Firewise community. So we've been telling residents, like, call your insurance and see if you can get a Firewise community discount. In addition, we support the local VFDs in the Blue Dot program. So my office, we have a whole collection of reflective blue dots that we provide to VFDs. So if you're a resident or you know somebody who has a water source that they're comfortable being pulled from if there's a wildfire event, they can contact their local VFD. They can verify that the water source is adequate and can be accessed, and then can place one of those blue dots at a visible point so that they can know that there's a water access point that they can pull from on that property. And finally, the Fire Safe Council leads Firewise education lessons at our local elementary schools. So we try to do a few month-long lessons a year. At the start of this year, we were at the Lewiston, Hayfork, and Van Dusen elementary schools, talking about fire ecology, what fire looks like on the landscape, and then also partnering with the Hayfork VFD, Southern Trinity, and Lewiston VFDs to talk about evacuation planning, pulling out the engine and having the kids look at the engine. So those are really fun. And it's not on the slide, but the Fire Safe Council also supports community chipping outreach, the implementation being performed by RCD and Watershed Center technicians. And this week, the RCD is in Weaverville. But I do want to say, if anybody's interested in signing up for community chipping, Downriver has already passed. So we've been getting some calls because it's like the best promotion for community chipping is seeing the community chipping, and that's sometimes after the application period. But it's never too late to sign up. Based on funding, we're going to try to go out again after we've exhausted our current list. But if we don't get out again this June, more free chipping will be available in October. And we use the same sign up. So really, we encourage people to sign up at any time so we can get them chipped. Another thing that the Trinity County Fire Safe Council does is supports Trinity County in hazard mitigation planning. So currently, we're engaged in the public review period for the county evacuation plan and evacuation routes and the draft county hazard mitigation plan. So those are available online and in 11 locations across the county for public review, also in this Weaverville library. On the right of the screen is somebody at the Firewise Fair just a few weeks ago, sitting in the grass, listening to music and reading the draft hazard mitigation plan. So really liked that picture, so I thought I would include it. As well as supporting the county in evacuation and hazard mitigation planning. The Fire Safe Council, what I like to refer to as the Fire Safe Council's bread and butter, is the county community wildfire protection plan. So earlier when I said, the Fire Safe Council was formed in like the late 1990s, one of the reasons why that was and why folks started working together on this concerted effort to reduce wildfire risk, something that came out of that was the predecessor document to the first CWPP, which was adopted in 2025. That predecessor document being released in November of 2000. Sorry, I just found it last night, so I'm very excited about this document that I've been reviewing as part of our 2025 update. So since 2000, that document was used to create the first CWPP for the county, which was adopted in 2005. And so every year since, the Fire Safe Council and RCD have been updating this community wildfire protection plan for the county, outlining resident priorities, assets at risk, and making recommendations on reducing wildfire risk in the county. So currently we're in the planning stages, but we hope to have the 2025 update adopted by the end of next year. So as I mentioned before, the Fire Safe Council has been engaged in a series of community meetings. And one of the most common questions that we get asked is, well, okay, you come out like every few years or once a year and you ask us for all of our opinions on things, but like, where does that actually go? Is it really mean anything, or does it just go on a plan and sit on a shelf? But particularly for the CWPP, that planning directly supports implementation. So these projects that are on the screen, so that Greater Willow Creek Community Wildfire Resilience Project, which the Trinity County RCD and Watershed Center are doing in partnership with the Humboldt County RCD, specifically calls out projects in Sawyer and Hawkins Bar identified in the CWPP for implementation, which is starting later this year. Similar to that, the Downriver Trinity Community Wildfire Protection Project calls out projects identified within the CWPP in the Burnt Ranch to Big Bar area for implementation, which we don't have an exact timeline on that because we were just notified of the award, both projects being funded by the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program. And the 2023 Trinity County Title III funding also calls out that the implementation piece is to support the implementation of CWPP identified priority projects. So I really want to celebrate the fact that when residents tell us, these are the areas that I'm concerned about, this is the work that I would like to see in my community, that isn't just sitting on the shelf and collecting dust. Those plans are being cracked open and evaluated when implementers are looking at grant applications and are being considered and are being included within proposals. So I want to wrap us up by talking about the County Coordinator Program. So this is a grant program by CAL FIRE and the California Fire Safe Council to support county fire safe councils like the Trinity County Fire Safe Council. One of the great things about this funding is that it is flexible to county fire safe council needs for coordination, and it works to build census within wildfire mitigation groups, analyze gaps in coordination efforts, and also support and improve outreach and coordination of these fire safe councils. So we are currently engaged in our second round of funding through the County Coordinator Program, which we received mid-April of this year, and which we will have until the end of December. So it's exciting that we have, again, funding to broadly implement the programs that I talked about earlier. And I want to talk about what's in store for this year through this program in particular. So generally, I think for a slideshow, less text is more, but sometimes showing a lot of text kind of conveys something. So on this massive slide shows all of the objectives that we lined out that we wanted to complete between April 2024, so when we got the grant awarded in mid-April, through the end of this year. And so some of these deliverables are more broad, so promoting wildfire resiliency, generally implementing our projects, but we also wanted to set out more direct deliverables. So holding those 11 community meetings, scheduling additional FireWise education lessons, distributing 1,200 evacuation go bags, clear metrics for increasing social media followership, and similar objectives. So that is to say, there's a lot of things that we want to achieve this year, but it is attainable and we want to get it done. So we have, many programs that we're seeking to continue coordinating, and we want to continue to engage residents in, and we're excited to do that. So that's one of the reasons why we have such a list of things, because we want to plan it out and we want to get to work. So the first step is, contact us if you have any questions, if you want to engage in our programs. If you're not behind me, so you can't read my number, it's on the screen. And we have information about all of our programming on firesafetrinity.org. So thank you very much for your time. If anyone's interested in attending, there is the monthly Fire Safe Council meetings. So the fourth Thursday of every month is Thursday at 1 p.m. available on Zoom and at our RCD office. And if anyone ever wants to stop by, we have information about, ways that you can improve your defensible space, home retrofitting guides. We have free evacuation go bags and similar resources. Always free to stop by my office and happy to give them out.
Thank you very much, Skylar. Any questions for Skylar?
I have one question and then one comment just for public awareness. The first one is, Skylar, you said that CWPP is updated. How often is the document each community? Is it a 5-year document?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I just want to emphasize for the public where you talked about this work to create an application through the RCD office for people to be able to document and have verified the fire reduction work that they do on their property specifically and around their homes and those varying degrees of feet from their structures. To emphasize for them that there is a lot of statewide conversation and advocacy going on right now through RCRC and CSAC to substantiate that verified work to the end that there is a successful translation of that into insurance coverage opportunities and more affordable rates. And people are working hard on that. So you are the boots on the ground for that process for us here locally. And so just to encourage people, it just feels like such a slow moving boat right now, but it's this undercurrent that we don't see and really believe that's going to come to something fruitful. So thank you for that. And for your positivity and work generally. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm glad you highlighted that too, Supervisor Cox, because I know at our last meeting that we had in Lewiston, when they were covering some of this, I realized we've done so much work on our property and we've never shared any of that. And so and never really occurred to me that, sharing that information helps shore up the status of the community, the Firewise communities, and helps with these kinds of things. So I definitely think we need to get the word out and try to get that information shared to people. Thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to say thank you for the chipping service because we bought a piece of property that hadn't been cleaned up and they just came in really quick yesterday, got it done, and it was beautiful. Thank you.
Happy to hear.
Nice. All right. We are going to take a break before the next presentation. It's just been a long morning already. So 8 minutes, we'll be back at 10:35. Thank you. Okay, we are back in session. Item 5 under presentations, human resources. Receive a presentation and adopt a resolution for Trinity County to participate in the PARS Post-Employment Benefits Trust Program. Appoint the Director of Human Resources as the county's plan administrator and authorize the county's plan administrator to execute the documents to implement the program.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take this one. So we have Mitch Barker here today who's going to give us a presentation. The board received a presentation back in June of 23, and this topic was lightly broached in there as far as allowing or setting up the county to be able to put some future funds in what is commonly called the combo trust. We've had a couple different meetings with the team, and we got our last overall, OPEB review in December with county staff. And at that point in time, county staff and everybody agreed that, this is a good option for us in the future. We don't have funding for it right now, and that's not what we're asking for today. We're just asking to set up the process. So at some point in time in the future, when we do have some funding, we can start minimally funding, this combo trust, if you will. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mitch and let the expert start talking about this and give the board the presentation that he has prepared.
Great, thank you.
I lost my audience here.
Well, you're still on video, so we'll have you forever.
There we go. Mitch Barker, senior consultant with PARS. Live in Fiddletown, which is also in the Gold Rush area. Amador County, love rural counties. We've lived there now for 3 years. Couldn't appreciate rural life anymore now that we've done it. Especially after the last presentation, I will tell you, we moved in August 15th, 2021. 3 days later, we evacuated August 18th due to the Caldor fire. So that fire safe information really hits home for me. And we had a meeting in our area last week to go over that. So board chair, supervisors, thank you for inviting me back. I really appreciate it. Got a little update on the presentation I did a year ago. I'm going to keep it simple since you've already heard it. I got a little update on my looks too. My dermatologist has been chasing me for a number of years, and he said, or she said, after 50 years of hiking, boating, and fishing and tennis, if you don't get in here and do the cream thing, it's not going to end well for you. So this is a result. This is 2 weeks in 1 day, and I've got another week to go, and then the aftermath. So I highly recommend it, by the way, because her chasing you with that freeze gun is not going to work. This will work. So I recommend it. Also on our team is Ryan Nicasio. He's a senior vice president, not here today. He had prior obligations, but the reason I put him on the agenda here is because I'm going to retire 12/31. Hopefully this time around. I've tried 2 years in a row and it's not worked out very well. And Ryan's going to take over. He's got 20 years with PARS and will do a fantastic job. Also on our team is Jim Brown. He's the senior county consultant. He keeps us on the straight and narrow as it relates to county issues. And Jim is the retired CEO of Merced County. Probably some of the supervisors have met Jim somewhere along the way. So that's our team. All right, Ashley, can you roll the tape, as they used to say back in the movie days? So again, as Trent alluded to, we gave this presentation June 2023. So I'm just going to update some key things. Bottom right is new. So PFM Asset Management is now our asset management partner. How'd that come about? Because they do the heavy lifting. US Bank bought PFM 2 years ago. Last year, they bought Union Bank, which included Highmark Capital, which has been your asset management partner since the very beginning. So the task for this last year of US Bank was to figure out who's the asset management partner. And it became PFM. They are tremendous. They've been around about the same length of time we have at 40 years. but they have about 230 billion in assets under management versus Highmark had 8. So very, very strong organization and highly rated. So we are glad to have them on the team. Next. The 115 Trust is been adopted by 37 counties. And as you can see, most of the North State are in that trust. By the way, I looked up North State in Google just to see what the technical definition of which counties. It's not exactly the counties I thought. There were some included and some excluded, but Colusa, Glenn, Humboldt, I know is not one of them. Lake, Lassen, Mendocino, I know is not one of them. Nevada, Plumas, Shasta, Siskiyou, Sutter, and Tehama are all in our trust. So you're in good company. Did I get them all right? Okay, good. All right, next page. So, hey, it's hard to remember exactly what was discussed last year or what my presentation was about. So I want to review a couple things. What the heck is a 115 trust? Well, in simplest forms, it's simply a reserve account. It's a place to put money. It's not inside your treasury. Therefore, it has the opportunity to earn a greater rate of return than your treasury. But here are the rules. It can only be used for OPEB or pension. That's it. So the technical term for it is post-employment benefits trust. What are the two post-employment benefits? Pension and OPEB. You have been in, on the left, the OPEB only trust since 2006. And you may remember this key stat. I'm into trivia. This was an easy one. Trinity County was the first agency in California to adopt the 115 trust to pre-fund OPEB. Small rural county. Wow. I mean, how did you figure it out that soon? I think Brian Muir probably had something to do with that, the auditor way back in the day, but that's pretty impressive. 500 agencies later around the country, they have followed your lead. 2015, something happened. We introduced a combo trust that now has a second accounting bucket. Now you can pre-fund pension too if you want. So we've been gently chasing you since then to switch from OPEB only to a combo trust. And that's what's in front of you today. So if you were to adopt at the end, we're going to transfer your 20.6 million over into the OPEB account within the combo trust. And then you'll also have a pension account in which to set money aside in the future, if you so desire. There's some good reasons to do that, which I'll show you, but there is no obligation. In fact, bottom right's real important. No setup cost to take this action today, no minimums, no requirements. We're not putting any pressure on. So this is about as user-friendly as we can make it. But I think it really makes good sense to do this. Next page. All right. We're going to look backwards before we look forwards, because let's see what's happened with OPEB since you guys were thought leaders back in the day. So you adopted the trust in July of 2006, and about 6 months later, you put in your first tranche of money, about $102,000. And it took a while before you got funding again, but you eventually got cranking, and you put in 17.7 million more. So your assets to date, as of March 31, are 17.8 million. And we have earned $3 million on your 17 million. It would have been more than that, but again, the bulk of that 17 million that you put in has come in recently in the last 5 years. But still, 3 million in earnings shows you the potential for what these trusts are all about. So your balance as of March 31st, 20.6 million. Very impressive for a rural county. I will tell you, Amador County, my county, has less than $1 million in there because they've not continued to fund like you have. So my hat's off to you. Next page. GASB requires that we do an actuarial evaluation every 2 years. And then there's updates in between that. And I said we because I'm part of your team, but it's actually you engaging with your actuary to get that done because you need somebody licensed to try and take the numbers and then make forecasts. So the column on the right is the key one. This is a measurement date of June 30, 2023. So about a year ago, but you're up to date. Your Fiduciary net position, which is basically assets in the trust in line 2, grew from 12 million to 17 million. Line 4, your funded ratio went from 23 to 31. However, as I just told you, you have 20 million 0.6 in assets. That's a footnote. So if we took today's assets and divided it by the liabilities, you're technically about 37% funded. So you've done a really good job in the last 5 years getting this thing more funded. One key term upper right there, discount rate. Discount rate's a technical actuarial term, which simply means what? Expected rate of return. That is our marching orders. That's our goal, is to earn 6% over the long term. And we have. Next. All right, we're going to switch to pension now. That's that other bucket on the combo trust. Why potentially could that be important to you? Well, GASB in their infinite wisdom in 2015 basically said, you now have to account for pension liabilities like you have been accounting for OPEB liabilities. They're a line item on your balance sheet. Front and center, no longer buried in the footnotes. So it's a big deal. Number 2, CalPERS lowered their discount rate, their expected rate of return from 7 to 6.8 a couple of years ago. Why did they do that? Because they weren't achieving 7. And the capital markets were putting pressure on to say, get real. You've got to lower your number to a target that you can achieve year after year. How did they do last year? They didn't achieve 6, right? They got 5.8. So, but over time, they're eventually going to continue to lower that number. Our guess is about 6% is where they're going to settle in at some point. They also did something else. They shortened the amortization period. That's kind of like your mortgage company saying, thank you for paying your mortgage on time. Instead of you paying it out over 30 years, we're going to shorten that to 20 years, which just raises your monthly payment. Well, who wants that? Well, nobody wants it, but it's one of CalPERS's ways of you paying down your liabilities faster. So it's a smart thing to do, but it obviously puts upward pressure on your annual cost. Next page. Ashley, please. What's that? Yeah, there we go. So if we looked up on the CalPERS website right now, these are the numbers you would see in that middle column. As you know, they come out August of every year, and unfortunately, they run 1 year behind. CalPERS has 4,000 agencies. It just takes a long time to value them. And when they give you your numbers in August, they're 1 year behind. So in August 2023, you got your numbers from June 30, 2022. Let's just look at the highlights. Line 3, your unfunded liability grew from 56 million to 75 million, 33% increase. Why? Well, they had a losing performance that year. It was a negative performance year. So that certainly drove up liabilities. Your funded ratio went from 67.6 to 58.8, about a 10% drop. And that's consistent with every other agency we're working with. But here's the real one that shows up each and every year. How much money do you have to contribute to CalPERS to pay the bill? This year it's 8.1 million. What do they project it's going to go to? 9.9 over time. That's a 22% increase. Are budgets growing that fast? No. So at some point in time, your budget may not be able to take care of the CalPERS annual amount. And you potentially can go to our trust to help out if that becomes an option down the road. So we like to take care of these numbers and make sure you're up to date on that. Next page. We've got about 15 reasons why we think this makes sense to pre-fund pension. I've just put in the best 4. Local control over the assets. What are your choices? Keep the money in the Treasury, but unfortunately by California government code, you can't invest in anything risky. Well, that's not unfortunate. You can't earn a greater rate of return than you can like our trust. That money needs to be there to pay bills. What's your other option? To send extra money to CalPERS. I would argue that's a good option. I don't think it's the best option because they've only got one strategy. It's a 75-25. It's fairly risky. we've all seen it hasn't done very well. I think putting the money in the 115 trust in the pension sub account where you control what the risk tolerance level is makes the most sense down the road. Pension rate stabilization. Again, if CalPERS costs exceed your budget, you could go to the trust to stabilize this process. And that makes awfully good sense. It's a safety net for sure. And diversification number 4 is really what this is about. We operate under a different California government code for investments than your treasury does. In essence, we're able to diversify in a prudent manner. Your OPEB right now is in a 50-50 strategy, 50% stocks, 50% bonds. You might go that same level for pension. You may go more conservative. It's really up to the county. But the key is to diversify your investments. Next. So a pretty simple investment approach, but certainly not simple to figure out the market. We've got 5 portfolios in the middle. Again, you're in the moderate for OPEB. You see what the returns have been over 10 years. If you've left the money in the treasury, here is an indicator of what the potential return has been and may be in the future. This is LAIF, very common liquidity management fund within the state. Over 10 years, it's earned 1.2. The moderate strategy for OPEB has earned 5.5 over the last 10 years. The most common is either moderate or moderately conservative, but that is your choice. And we have a dedicated portfolio manager that's been managing your money and will continue to do so. He will take on the fiduciary responsibility. He just wants input on a couple things, which was on the far left. What's your risk tolerance appetite? And number 2, when do you think you might need the money? Folks think long-term with OPEB. They think shorter term with pension. Why? You see where the pension costs are going. So most agencies are looking about 3 to 5 years down the road as to when they think they might want to take out some of the pension money. But it's all based on each agency's needs. Next page. Here's our tiered fee schedule. As you see in the middle section, there is no fee to set up your account within this combo trust. We will shift over the OPEB money. Since it's a tiered fee schedule and you have $20 million in that trust, you're on the 3rd tier. So you're getting the 2nd lowest fee we have. And that's a good thing. So as the assets grow, the fees go down. Last slide. Why take this step? Smooths out pension rate volatility. You need a fiscal tool in your financial toolbox. This is the best one I've seen. Offers a hedge against inflation. What was it a couple years ago? 8.5, 9? Jeez. Now it's down to about 3.5, and we're hoping it stays down there, and we're obviously hoping mortgage interest rates go lower and lower. But number 3, tool in your toolbox, we talked about that. And number 4 really is our catchphrase, which is to prepare today for tomorrow's pension realities, which are unfunded liabilities continue to go up and your annual costs go up. So in effect, do what you did for OPEB, only in this case, you're doing it for pension. That's my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Anyone have questions? I just had one. I noticed there's information that says, as you would expect in a trust, the funds can only be used for a certain purpose. And then I saw a reference to rainy day fund. Does that mean rainy day as in, I don't have the money to pay in what I need to as a county this year, so I'm going to draw from here?
Yeah, so long as if you put the money in the OPEB bucket, it can only be used for OPEB.
Right.
If you put the money in the pension bucket, it can only be used for pension.
Okay. But the rainy day fund aspect is just, if you need to take it out of here to meet your commitments for that year, to the actual funds.
You could.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Because that, I think that's one of the critical aspects of this is when it sits in Treasury, you can kind of do what you want with is both good and bad and potentially dangerous when you're already not as funded as you should be. So putting over here means, okay, it's committed. This is where it is. This is where it's going to stay. It's going to earn more money. It's going to help us meet our commitments long-term. and we no longer can get our fingers on it. So I think that's important to note, and I think important to act on. Okay, no other questions? No? Trent, I also see that this says adopt a resolution.
So we would ask the board for that consideration to adopt the resolution.
And that resolution, as it states, is for us to participate and to appoint the Director of Human Resources as our plan administrator.
Correct.
Okay.
And the Director of Human Resources is the current plan administrator for the OPEB only, the way
Okay.
it's set up. So we're not changing any of that from a paperwork perspective.
Okay. I entertain a motion.
Yeah, I would move to approve that resolution as presented in the packet.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Supervisor Cox.
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Look forward to coming back.
And if I could offer a thank you, Chair.
Please.
I don't know who initiated this, but I'm grateful for it. So CAO, however this happened, Chair, thank you.
All right. At this point, we move into public comment. This time is for information from the public on matters not appearing on this agenda or within the consent calendar. All comments are limited to 3 minutes and must pertain to matters within the jurisdiction of this board. When addressing the board, please state your name for the record and address the board as a whole through the chair. No action or discussion will be conducted on matters not listed on the agenda. However, the chair may refer the subject to the appropriate department for follow-up or schedule the matter on a subsequent board agenda. So is there any public comment in the room? No? Online?
I have no raised hands.
Okay. We will move on to reports and announcements. First from department heads.
I have no raised hands.
All right. Update, a report from County Administrative Officer.
Thank you, Chair. I've got a couple things. So first is a solid waste update. While Ashley's bringing up a picture. So some action items from that the county committed to in the solid waste grand jury response have been completed. The 2 additional satellite phones are now operational, so all sites have a form of emergency communication. Another topic that we've been working on is the shade coverings, and those have been progressing well. The photo there that you see in front of you is from the Hubel or the Trinity Center transfer site, and obviously that shade covering is complete. The Big Barn High and Palm shade coverings are in the works, and they will be completed by mid-June, and all the sites will have a very similar shade covering that you see here in this picture. And then also in the solid waste area, there's some shifting of the carpet and mattress recycling containers from one transfer site to another. I'm sure this will cause some angst for some and some joy for others, but we're moving these based upon the volume and usage. So it's based upon the numbers. Solid waste has been putting this information out, so it's not a surprise to anybody. But again, that carpet and mattress recycling containers are going to be moved around. Next topic is I want to recognize our 4 recent CSAC Institute for Excellence in County Government, the Executive Credential Program graduates. So for the last 5 months, we've had 4 individuals from the county that have been traveling over to Humboldt County who was gracious enough to accommodate us as they brought up the CSAC Institute of Excellence training to Humboldt over in Eureka. But we had Layla Cassis, Christine Gaffney, Liz Hamilton, and Susie Hawkins all participated in that. It was basically a 2-day event once per month where they went over and received training in various leadership aspects and leadership development. And I'm very grateful for them for their abilities to step forward and take this training, as it took time away from their family and then the daily activities in the county. But in the long run, I truly believe that training like this is beneficial to our county employees, and I'm grateful for them. I'm hopeful to recognize them in front of the board with some actual certificates at some point in time in the future, but they literally just graduated. They just completed on Friday last week. So we're still in the process of working that aspect. And then one more last employee recognition, as I've done some of these in the past, whenever I get them in, I think it's great. So this one is from the recorder's office. And this is for Lisa, and she's got all great marks, some just doubly asterisked, if you will, in a very good area. And a big thank you. You were great. And this individual from Lewiston, was kind enough to put her name and phone number down there. And just, I appreciate not only the employees who go above and beyond, but also the public who, when that happens, recognizes that, because oftentimes, it's not this way. But we do have great employees that are working to the best of their ability, and I thank them for that. We got a few other items on the agenda, so that's enough for me for now. Thank you.
Okay. And in the spirit of that, we'll move into our supervisor updates. Supervisor Cox.
Okay, I did attend the RCRC meeting this last week. Out of that, to report out would be an upcoming strategic plan. We began that process, and that will continue another meeting or so, and we'll have that finalized for the next couple of years. For the public to be aware of, this happened last year as well, imagine in years prior, that I wasn't aware of. There is a photo contest. So for all of those photographers in the county, it's an opportunity to submit up to 3 photos, and they will be judged by the executive board and selected. The winning photo will be displayed in various marketing materials and work products over the course of the next year. It's another one of those opportunities to put Trinity on the map. So I would say to supervisors, if we can help to get this information out to each of your constituents, it would be fun to see a Trinity resident win that. There were updates provided on water issues, also on forest management and wildfire. And then, of course, the next revision of the governor's proposed budget. So those I will make all available to the CAO. He can email those out to board members generally, and then the last thing, it was announced, and maybe folks are already aware of this, but AT&T's application for carrier of last resort relief in March of 2023, RCRC, along with others, strongly opposed that, and they were denied that request formally. So that's good news. End of report.
Supervisor Gogan.
Okay, I had no out-of-county travel. I did attend, as Skylar mentioned, the Firewise meeting in Hayfork on Saturday, and it was widely attended. It was a great showing. Hayfork Park looked great. I think there's probably 10 or 15 booths there, and with all different varieties of people hosting those booths. It was a really, really good outturn in Hayfork, and I thank all the people that showed up. There was a lot of information given out, barbecue, and just a good social time, plus, business time for Trinity County. The weather was great. We all had a good time, and thank everybody for putting that on. It was really, really a great show. Also attended the Child Care Health Council, which deals with children from age 1 to 4, trying to get them on a early nutrition kind of schedule in Trinity County. Get a great group of folks in that group. We're trying our hardest and trying to get them to start out on the right foot, we'll say. And I think that with the hard work that we're putting in and they're putting in, we're going to make a dent here in the near future. Also had a TMC monthly call a few days back, which gets us in preparation for our 2-day TMC meeting, which I think will be held, which will be held in Wichita in a couple of weeks or middle of June. So we're looking forward to that as a county, and I think we'll get some good work done there. And then lastly, I had my town hall meeting last week. And it was a great meeting. I enjoyed doing them. Great participation. Northern Delights is a wonderful place to have it. It's small, it's intimate. Lots of questions asked, lots of answers given, which brought up more questions, more answers, but it was very open, honest, frank discussion about a lot of different things. And I'm grateful for all the people that showed up and participated. And we will have one once a month for as unforeseeable future. So here we go. We'll have one next month, and hope everybody shows up and has some food and a good time. That's it for me.
Thank you. Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
I have a couple items of just concern that have been brought to me from many of my constituents that I feel like it's imperative that I bring them forward as a voice of them. The first one is in anticipation of the upcoming election this fall, and then some concerns that were brought forth around the last one. And I know that we already had a presentation from our elections office regarding the districting, and I feel comfortable with that. But I do have another question that has been asked of me, mostly in preparation for the upcoming election. I would like to, I'm not sure, Trent, you can help me understand how to best facilitate this. Perhaps the whole board is interested in this information. I'm not sure, but one of the things that I want to make sure that is happening, and perhaps it already is that when we are conducting elections in Trinity County, that we are focusing on California state law and federal law, and that we are making very certain that the folks who are voting in our elections are U.S. citizens, that they are 18 years old, they're not currently serving in state or federal prison terms, and that they are not felons, and that everyone who is voting in this county is mentally competent to do so. There's a lot of conversations around, I guess, just making sure that those elections are prudent and that we're doing them correctly. So is that something we may be able to ask for a presentation on? I know that it's hard because we have in the state same-day registration, same-day voting opportunity. I just want to make sure that we're making sure that those folks are proven American citizens and are meeting all the other legal responsibilities to be allowed to vote in this country. So that's important. I've had quite a number of people ask me about that. So I thought I would ask that for them and for myself. I also want to be a bearer of a bit of bad news. We've lost 2 lives already in the downriver area in our river. This is a time of year when the air gets hot outside, but the water is still incredibly cold and the currents are incredibly swift. And I just want to thank our first responders and the folks who do the best that they can with posting, do not swim yet signs. But still, folks who are not from here just become overwhelmed with the desire to go swimming. And unfortunately, we've already lost 2 lives this spring. And it is a bit of folklore that generally 3 people drowned before the summer season. And throughout my adult life, that has rang pretty significantly true. So if you're listening or you're inviting people up to go swimming, it's just not time yet. I'm sorry, but it's just not time yet. So please be careful. With those 2 things set aside, I want to report out that I'm very grateful that Pacific Gas and Electric held a community support day in Burnt Ranch last week to help the folks who were impacted by the power surge. They were able to come and have support and help with filing their claims for lost. Many people had damages done to household appliances, to their security, commercial business
items damaged and different things. So I'm very grateful that that was finally went through the process and folks were connected with and were able to get the support that they need. And then the future support that's going to come as that process continues to be worked out. I had the opportunity to attend the NACO Western Interstate Conference. That was very informative, as always is. NACO does an amazing job of collecting issues that are of a concern to rural counties and western counties and public land counties. And we had a several-day conference up out of Yosemite at the Tenaya Lodge. We visited quite a bit of fuels reduction, talked about all of the Western concerns with fire insurance and the standard fare. But it was a good conference, and some things came out of that I'm going to be able to forward on to our CAO and the department heads for those pieces of information. I attended the PATH meeting locally here, and then also was on the TMC call, learning constantly about the activities around our river. Had correspondence with the leaders of the Great Redwood Trail, and then had a wonderful opportunity to meet with CAO and our staff to provide county concerns within the public comment period on some of the issues that the private landowners in that trail area have brought forward, as well as the local tribes in that area. I attended the Wildfire Risk Reduction Infrastructure Team Tour, and I met with them up at Corral Bottoms, had the opportunity to share a bit about our community story and why fuels reduction and healthy forests are so important to the people that live in this region. I attended the NACO Rural Action Caucus meeting via Zoom, and I'm hopeful that as per that meeting, the Farm Bill is actively moving forward. One of the major pieces that has an impact on our community is the hope that the Secure Rural Schools funding will be put into a 3-year cycle rather than having to ask for it every single year. So that'll be good. And also for our PILT funds to be fully funded. It's of course going back and forth right now, but things are beginning to move. There's progression that's being made now in large chunks rather than inching along. From that meeting, I also was given information that I will share with CAO Tuthill and Commissioner Panos regarding a significant amount of funding that is available for roads and transportation planning for counties. It's a pot that is not being tapped into very aggressively, as most people are seeking the funds for the actual implementation of road work. They are encouraging small rural counties to apply for this planning available, the funds available in this funding pot, to get them set to prepare to ask for the actual implementation funds. So I'll pass those forward. I'm really excited that the Community Wildfire Defense Grant was awarded to the Downriver community. Just under $8 million is going to pair really well with the Big Ranch project and really put the Downriver communities, the District 4 communities, in a good place with creating defendable space around the communities, and then also thinning along the roadsides for proper evacuation, emergency routes, and availability of firefighting equipment to get in there quickly when necessary. With all of that, I'm very excited about the work season that is ahead. All of the communities in District 4 will be experiencing some road work with chip sealing, which I was very grateful to see the list posted, and that some of the roads in my district are going to be worked on this summer. And also just patience while we're getting this fuels reduction work done. Some of our days might be interrupted with a little bit of road work, but it's that road work and that fuels reduction work that's going to save us in the long run. I'm very happy to see that all of the river businesses are lit up. All the rafts are inflated, pulled out, and ready for customers to come. I see all of the yards being tended along the river, and all of the small businesses and the soft serve ice cream machines are ready to go. I encourage people to go west. Blessings to all in District 4, and may your gardens prosper, your wood piles be replenished, your river days be long, your barbecues be many, and I will listen for your laughter as it rings through our canyons.
Thank you. Supervisor Frazier.
Okay. I did attend a Ruth Lake Community Service District meeting on the 14th.
Sorry, which community? I did.
Ruth Lake Community Service District. And then on the 16th, I attended the North Coast Unified Air Quality Management District regularly scheduled board meeting where we adopted the budget for the year. Also at that meeting, we voted to raise the X factor at North Coast, which I'll read the definition slightly. The X factor is the hourly cost of operation portion of their billing. So it's a factor of X. It was raised by CPI every year for the past, since I think 2011. This year, the CPI increase was 3.94. And at that rate, there was a budget deficit of $212,000. Well, actually, no, $178,000. So on top of the 3.94% increase, X factor was raised by 11%, which brought the budget deficit down to $87,900. So North Coast Unified is still in a deficit, but is raising fees to try to work their way out of it. And I think that is all I have to report. I had no other out of county travel.
So does that mean that Trinity's contribution to that is increased?
No, that would be, that's all the permits will go up. And not burn permits are not covered by that. That would be the Title V and the gas stations, all those will see an increase in their permits. And if anybody wants to see any more of that information, I do have it. And it'll be on the North Coast Unified Air Quality Management District website also.
One, I out of county travel for both the NORTEC advisory committee meeting and the SCED board meeting. In both of those, I was actively facilitating groups through strategic planning. It's been really rewarding to work with these organizations and help them kind of step back and take a fresh look at their focus, their mission, their priorities. And we're off to a good start with our work with SCED, which is the Economic Development Group. And then yesterday we did have the PSA2 Area Agency for Aging. I always struggle with that. Board meeting which Chair Cox leads. And it was a lengthy meeting, but it was also a ton of work. There were 3 different major initiatives that all had to be undertaken at the same time, including an area plan. And just, kudos to Supervisor Cox, who chairs that meeting. It always goes very well. And the work that group does is just exemplary. They just do really, really good work. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will now move to the reports from ad hocs. And is there anything for tribal relations?
No, sir.
Nothing. And for the cannabis, I know that we are anticipating information from staff later this month that will come to Supervisor Frazier and I for review. And this is kind of digging in on the balance of feedback that we've been receiving through our public workshops and such, and trying to formalize that into something specific that we can then put before the public, the planning commission and such. But the next step is delivery from staff, and then Supervisor Frazier and I will have a deadline for giving response as ad hoc committee members back to staff. So hopefully we'll have something here soon to share. All right, now we'll move to consent calendar. These items include routine non-controversial matters and will be acted upon by the board by one roll call motion. If a member of the public has any questions or comments on the item on the consent calendar, they may provide them now. A member of the board or staff may request an item be pulled and considered separately. We'll open up for public comment on consent calendar. And in the room?
I have no raised hands.
Okay, did any board member have an item they wanted to pull from the consent calendar for discussion? No, seeing that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
All right.
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye.
Supervisor Cox,
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler.
Thank you. CAO Tuthill, I know that there was some discussion about whether this next item was, let's see if I can get there straight. The next item was a public hearing or not. So where are we with that?
It is not, we'll just hear it under under county matters.
So we'll just shift it down?
Yes, we'll just do it, if you will, on the first item under county matters.
Okay, so the first item under public hearings is actually going to be handled as first item under county matters. And we will move to the second item, which is under the hearing, Trinity County Transportation Commission conduct a public hearing to receive comments on unmet transit needs as required by the Transportation Development Act.
Panos should be online.
Yes, hello. This is an annual public hearing that is part of the Transportation Development Act, and it's required for the county to receive local transportation funds and state transit funds. Any comments that we'll receive today during this public hearing will be analyzed by staff, and the final recommendations are going to be to the board on the June 4th meeting.
And Panos, I understand that I think isn't there a separate public input session tomorrow? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't believe there is one tomorrow. We had one before a few weeks ago.
Okay, maybe
we did have the unmet needs meeting where we had to have several participants and members for that group.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about comments that you have received this time? Because I know last time the input was no unmet needs.
During the meeting, there were not any unmet needs, but I believe you're in another meeting and you sent me an email regarding unmet needs for paratransit. And paratransit is provided by the senior the Golden Senior Center. And the paratransit is where they go and pick up people who have needs and they take them where they need to go. They're usually in Junction City, Weaverville, and Douglas City. They don't go to Hayfork or to Trinity Center. And I think Sarah is working with behavioral health or some other people to see how they can accommodate that.
Okay, so perhaps you could just clarify what, if people are thinking about unmet needs that should be shared for the purposes of this process, what would be examples of that do qualify?
That's an interesting question. There's so many rules and regulations that you have to go by, and I'm not familiar with all of them. And unfortunately, Sarah is on another training right now with respect to safety funds. I will talk to her and get back to you. However, most of the needs are the transportation needs where people have to take the bus and go to different places. And we have 4 bus routes, as you are aware. We go to Willow Creek, we go to Lewiston, we go to Hayfork, and we go to Reading. And most of those buses run every day. However, the Lewiston buses, they run on an as-needed basis because we have 2 or 3 people who use those, and there are times that they say they're not going to be on it. Paratransit is the one that is provided by the Golden Senior Center, where they go into specific locations like somebody's home or somebody's area to pick them and take them where they need to go, people who are handicapped. Our routine buses do not deviate from the routes.
Okay.
And the paratransit services are provided based on the need and the available funding.
Okay. And I think the reason I keep trying to make sure that we're all really clear about this is I remember last year when we were approving and we said no unmet needs. And then it seemed like I was in several meetings subsequently where what I was hearing seemed like unmet needs. And I think
The definition of that is no unmet needs that are reasonable to meet. There is that in that
Right.
sentence.
Yeah. But I think, the piece that seems to be missing to me is we're not even getting them on the list to be considered as to whether they're reasonable to meet or not. And I'm trying to think, Supervisor Cox, did this come up in the mobile crisis response? So I just want to be clear, today is
Wasn't,
oh, go
to be
ahead.
clear, it wasn't to do with the mobile crisis unit itself. It was for people to get to the meeting so they could give input into that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think what we've been seeing is that we have situations in which, even if you look at some of the Health and Human Services, if you looked at the demographics of the people that take advantage of those, some of it maybe wouldn't be surprising in terms of economic levels or whatever, but geographically, a huge percentage is taken advantage of by people near to Weaverville. And when I asked the question as to why, they said, well, probably because the people further out can't get to us. This is where the services are provided. Well, that to me is an unmet transportation need. And yet, every year we approve this and say there are no unmet transportation needs, but I don't know how to get this information into the funnel so that it can at least be vetted for the criteria that you're referring to, Supervisor Frazier. But I guess with that, does anybody else have questions? Because I know we need to have the comment session, have the actual hearing. I just wanted to set the stage.
I do have one question, Director Kokas. When you talked about the paratransit needs, just for clarity, do those not qualify, or is there another like contingency that if it isn't being met another way, and because the Golden Age Center does offer this, does that then take it off the docket, so to speak?
We contract with them and we pay them a certain amount to provide those services. And they're the ones who are equipped to do that. We're not equipped to do that. We don't have the equipment or the personnel to take care of it.
Okay, thank you for that. I didn't realize that the county paid them for that. Is that just news to me? Okay. Is there anything else? I suppose you would have mentioned it. Are there any other places that we contract and pay?
And the Human Resources Network, that we also pay them $80,000 a year for others, the HRN services.
Okay.
That's also paid by the county. I think last year we had an MOU with them for about $80,000.
And is there a geographic limit to that, like there was with the paratransit?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. It could be because of the county being sparsely populated in such large county, they may not be able to provide something in the Ruth area.
Okay, thank you.
And again, what is possible for us to meet based on our resources.
And I do want to acknowledge, talking with Director Kokas, there have been newspaper ads, there have been website, there have been, I shared via email and social media, and still, we don't receive anything. I'm not trying to create something where it doesn't exist, but I am trying to make sure that we're not missing something of value and importance. So the process happens every year. We can always keep trying. So let's open to public comment for the public hearing. Any in the room? Online.
I have no raised hand. Oh, I do have a raised hand.
Okay.
Rhoda?
Hi, Rhoda Kane, Trinity Center, North Lake area. And North Lake is one of those unmet needs. North Lake is in pretty desperate need of some sort of public transportation, even if it's some sort of like Lewiston does, where it's kind of an on-call or one day a week, but we're in desperate need up here in North Lake. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no other raised hands.
All right. And so, Panos, could you just explain what's the next steps?
The next step is since we found out that there is some unmet needs in the Trinity Center and maybe Hayfork area, we will have to speak with the Health and Human Services because they're part of also on the group on the advisory committee to provide input for the unmet needs. And in the past, we did not have too much input or too many requests elsewhere. So we will look at the areas where we have the unmet needs. We'll look at their budgets and see what those are and how we can accommodate them or what is the best way to proceed based on the available funding.
Thank you. And then, as you mentioned, this would be then brought back before the board at some form to formally adopt the.
On June 4th, they're going to come back with the comments and the recommendations.
Okay, thank you. All right, that we will close the public hearing. All right, the next item is then moving into county matters. The first item will be the one that we brought forward. So community development building, waive the reading of and enact an ordinance amending Trinity County Code Section 15.25 pertaining to limited density rural dwellings introduced May 7th, 2024. Fiscal impact unknown.
Good morning, Chair and Board. Ed, would you mind muting your? It's hard to get feedback. Okay, thank you. So unfortunately, there's a little bit of a snafu. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Muffled, but we can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. There's a little bit of a snafu with Civic Plus, so my staff report didn't make it onto the public portal, but unfortunately, my staff report was basically a repeat of the staff report from May 7th, but I added a little additional information to document what happened at the May 7th meeting, which was that you guys removed the proposed addition of the Ruth Lake CSD as a zoning district and directed me to complete that, to complete those SUD guidelines. So what's in front of you today is the second and final reading of the original ordinance amendment. Sorry, not the original, but the ordinance amendment that originally came to you on March 19th. And that's all the information I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Just a question that there's no concern about moving forward without that.
There's not.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Bella or anyone else? No? Let's open to public comment.
I have no raised hands.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve as presented.
I will second.
Supervisor Gogan?
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier?
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
Aye.
Supervisor Cox? Chairman Lutweiler?
Aye. And my thanks to Supervisor Frazier and Bella and other members of staff who've been working on this for quite some time. And it's great to finally have this in place and appreciate all of your help.
And I agree. I know Dan's been working on this since he was in the planning commission.
Wow.
Throughout his 4 years on the board, which has been a while.
Fair warning, as soon as we get the rigmarole and around Ruth Lake straightened up, we'll be back.
Fair warning.
For your hard work, diligence in getting this done. It's a very important piece. And thanks for all your continued and persistent hard work, Dan.
Great. All right, thank you. Next item under community development, natural resources, adopt a resolution approving the environmental review for the Trinity Headwaters Forest Conservation for the Community Benefit Project. No fiscal impact.
Morning, Chair, Board. David Colbeck, Environmental Compliance Specialist with the Natural Resources Division. It's good to be in front of you again. Quick thank you to CAO Tuthill for the new agenda software, Civic Plus, and to Ashley Piker, Deputy Clerk, for your assistance in getting these items in front of you today. The issue today is a bit of an unusual one. the request here is for you to adopt a resolution that is certifying a NEPA determination. You're familiar with CEQA processes for a number of state projects, county projects for environmental review. NEPA is the National Environmental Policy Act, which is the federal corollary. It's very similar to very similar to CEQA, but applies to projects that have federal funding or that occur on federal land. This particular project is funded in part by HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Department, so a federal funding source. And again, that triggers NEPA. So those should be the acronyms I'm hoping to get out of the way right there. The project itself, I believe many of you are familiar with, is an acquisition of 10,000 acres in northern Trinity County in the headwaters of the Trinity watershed. It is an acquisition by Pacific Forest Trust, PFT, in coordination with the Watershed Center. I have, or in the room here is Nicolette, Director of the Watershed Research and Training Center, and also available online should you have any questions or require more background. Michael Comstock with the Pacific Forest Trust. So the project is simply an acquisition. Basically, it's forest land that was under production and now is being acquired through these several grant sources, including HUD, as well as other state funding sources. Essentially for the same use. It's working landscape going to working landscape. But again, the request here in front of you today is built around HUD's requirements under, I believe, sorry, one moment, it is Title 24, Part 58 under the Code of Federal Regulations. That says that when HUD is awarding a grantee funding, and that grantee is a nonprofit, that a local agency is responsible for conducting the environmental review of the project. And here in this case, it's Trinity County, or this board is acting as the certifying body for the environmental review. And so that is basically the resolution in front of you. It's in three parts. One is accepting the authority as a board to approve the environmental review. Two is the designation of a signatory, in this case, the chair of the board, to sign any relevant follow-up documents for the processing of the HUD funding. And then third, and perhaps more importantly, is a determination that this project is exempt under CFR 58.34. And so there, just to describe what NEPA is, again, it's similar to CEQA. There's several different layers of environmental review. The lowest layer is a categorical exclusion under NEPA, which basically says under environmental review that you do not need to proceed to a higher level of documentation or analysis that you'd find in an EA or EIS. So this particular project, which is an acquisition, can be considered under a categorical exclusion, again, because it's an acquisition. There's a category for that, and it's going to a similar use. But here in this resolution, we are going further and saying it's actually exempt from review. And there, it's an important determination just in terms of NEPA processing. And I can get into those details if you wish me to. I do want to highlight here that in your board packet, you have letters of support from Senator McGuire, from the Wintu-Norelmuk tribe, and also included this board in a letter that was signed, I believe in Dan Frazier was supervisor, was chair in 2022. That is included in your packet. I do want to highlight that the timelines of this particular resolution at the moment are very timely, as this funding is, HUD funding is wrapped together with other state funding sources, which will be determined in a board meeting with the Wildlife Conservation Board Thursday of this week. In that regard, just so you're aware that this project is contingent on these funding sources and contingent upon the resolution provided to you today. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions and remind the board that, again, Director Goulet and Michael Comstock are available for any comments or questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Let's open for public comment.
I have no raised hands.
All right. Entertain a motion?
Motion to accept item, what are we calling this now?
It'll be,
E1, I guess.
it'll be
F1.
F2. or
F1. As stated.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, only under discussion, I just say it was really interesting, both in conversation and reading the material, to see how long and hard this has been, and to come down to probably about 36 hours before a deadline that, as I understand it, is it's not just if you miss it, then maybe next year. It's you miss it, it's over. So my gratitude to those who've just kept chugging away and pushing this, because I think it will be a huge win for us if we're successful on Thursday. And Nick and David and others, thank you very, very much for all the hard work on this.
May I say something?
Yes.
I also want to say thank you. I know that our county is truly blessed with having visionaries like Nick Gillette here. He sees things that others may miss and goes after stuff that most people would say there's no way we can make that happen. So I just am super grateful, and I'm also just want to raise a round of applause for the folks that worked so hard on this project. The tour was amazing. I'm glad I got to go up there. And I do have to say that one of my favorite components of this, along with many other reasons why this is important to our county, but I'm glad it's going to remain a working landscape. So often trusts will wrap tight around acreages and nothing ever happens there again. And they're supposedly preserved, but we've learned over the years that preservation is very different than conservation. And so to have active management on this landscape to continue to allow it to work for us and for us to work with it so that it tells a story of people who care about forest health, people who care about water quality, people who care not only about what the land has left us in legacy, but what we can leave behind as our legacy. So thank you very much for the work. And I will remain hopeful that everything will move forward from here on.
All right, call the vote.
Supervisor Cox?
Aye.
Supervisor Goodwin?
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier?
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler?
Aye. All right, with that, I need to take a 6-minute break. We'll be back at 11:50.
Thank both you guys for that. Thank
falling down on the job.
You're fired.
All right, we are back in session. And we are on to item on the agenda says F2, and it is County Administrative Office, appoint Margaret Long as County Counsel and award to Princess Long PC the contract to provide county counsel services to Trinity County, approximately $605,000 per year from the general fund and various departments receiving non-general counsel services.
Thank you, Chair. I will take care of this item. So there's a lot of information in the staff report and associated documents in attachments to the staff report. I'm going to highlight a few things out of the staff report and then add a few other items. So the RFPs were sent out and we received 5 proposals on the 17th or by the 17th of January. Shortly after that, a small group of staff reviewed the RFPs for responsiveness and compliance with the RFP. And then shortly after that, the board had a number of closed session meetings to, in fact, review the RFPs that were submitted. Initially, the board received or reviewed all 5 of the proposals and then made a determination that we would in fact interview 3 of the proposing individuals and firms. That interview did in fact, happen on the 12th of April, and then on the 16th of April, in another closed session, the board directed me to go and negotiate the contract with Princess Long, which is attached to the board report. In addition to what is in the board report, I want to provide a couple other clarifying comments for public awareness. Princess Long, as the incumbent, was not involved in any of the county council selection process. From RFP development to final selection, they were not involved with any document preparation, any document reviews, or any aspect of the selection process. So I want that to be very clear for all members of the public. Also, we did have outside attorneys providing process and structure guidance. We had 2 attorneys from a couple of the county organizations that we interact with frequently, providing me specific advice as far as the process, what we can and can't do, how closed sessions can and can't be conducted. And then we also had help and assistance in developing the interview questions that we ultimately used for the 3 interviews that we held. In addition, at the onset of this whole process, we also evaluated whether we should try to or look at the option of bringing county council services back, quote, in-house, which means to have a county employee provide council services. I talked that process through with the same individuals that I had previously mentioned. And based upon our needs here in our county, the size of the county, the numbers of hours we typically use for county council services, it was estimated we would need approximately, as a minimum, at least 2 attorneys and some type of legal assistant. And when you look at the overall cost of that, it would be equal or higher than what we are currently paying. With that said, we still ran an advertisement concurrently when we sent out the RFP for contract services. We ran a requirement or a job advertisement concurrently through the county website and different professional associations for potential in-house county council services. We did not receive any proposals or any job applications for in-house county council services. So we proceeded with the RFP contract county council services route. So again, I just want to provide that information to the public, which was not included in the specific staff report, but that it was definitely part of the process that we in fact followed. With that, I will conclude the introduction and then address any other questions as they may come up.
Just one thing I was going to add from the help that you were able to elicit from outside counsel to assist with the process, that we also had someone with us during the interviews to give their perspective based to balance ours.
Yes, Chair, we did. During the 3 interviews, we had a North State attorney who is a city attorney at 2 North State cities and has extensive public service and public representation. And he assisted with the interview questions and then actually sat with us through each of the interview and provided advice and guidance to the staff.
That's very helpful. Thank you for arranging that. Any questions or for?
And we did have, was it 13, exactly the same questions to ask everybody, so there was no variance in?
Yes, the questions that were asked were attached to the staff report for public and anybody to see, and those specific questions were asked by specific board members to all 3 interviewees, and the same exact set of questions was asked to each one.
Thank you. Any other questions for Trent?
Yeah, I would just say if you could clarify as well that when the press release occurred, that was not a final action, that was a direction.
Correct. Yes, Chair, or yes, Supervisor Cox. That was a public announcement to say we had taken the next step in the selection process. And part of that was that this final contract would be brought back to the board for final consideration. That was not a final selection at that point. That was just an announcement that to let the public know that we were working through the process. But this today in public open session is the final adoption of the contract, if that's the desires of the board.
And I think more specifically to my point would be to capture that as not being a final action, direction to staff was the appropriate report out there.
That was direction to the CAO to negotiate this said contract.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, with that, we will open for public comment. Seeing none in the room, we'll go online.
I have no raised hands.
Okay. And that I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve F2 as presented.
I have a second.
I will second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Call for the vote.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye.
Supervisor Cox.
No.
Chairman Lutweiler.
Aye. And my thanks, CEO Tuthill, for working through that process so diligently. It was comprehensive, it was clear, it was well facilitated. And I think it helped make sure that the whole process was handled very well for a very important decision. And then on behalf of Apprentice Long, Amanda, welcome and congratulations. And we're looking forward to working with you.
We appreciate the board's vote. Thank you very much. We look forward to it as well.
Thank you. Okay. Next item, County Administrative Office, approve amendment number 1 to the employee contract with Trent Tuthill, extending the term to April 18, 2025, and adding 1 week of professional leave to provide county administrative duties. Approximate cost and salary and benefits per month at step C is $24,212.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the extension for my employment contract. The current contract technically expired on April 18th. This year, we negotiated this contract in closed session last meeting, and presented to you today is the outcome of those discussions.
Any questions from the board? Okay, well, public comment online, none in the room.
I have no raised hands.
I will move to approve as presented.
Second.
We had both Supervisor Cox, I think I heard first.
Go right ahead.
She was quiet. And only comment, I just say, first of all, thank you for everything you've done in the first year and for agreeing to work with us again, moving forward. That smile.
Can I say, I would really wish this wasn't just 2025. I wish it was a little farther out there. We'll take what we can get for now.
Time.
But I think it's important for the public to understand, you know, what our CAO has agreed to is 1-year terms, and we are grateful for all the great work that you've done and happy that you're going to be with us at least for another year, and we'll try to keep you on for a while longer. Thank you.
Supervisor Cox?
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier?
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan?
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler?
Aye. Okay. County Administrative Office, adopt a resolution establishing a temporary process until the general plan is approved to address the 3 existing opt-out requests. Fiscal impact unknown.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take this one as well. And you know, you've got the B team working this. I apologize, and that's myself. I do have Drew online. I think he's online, and we have used minimal cannabis staff time. It's been literally myself and Drew working through some of this with County Council as far as direction from the April meeting where we discussed this concept. The board gave us direction to go back and develop a temporary process. And we did that in the form of this resolution that's presented before you today. We developed some criteria as far as what would make a complete application and how that needs to be submitted from a potential applicant, and the time frame associated with that for these particular 3 locations that have provided us some form of information regarding a opt-out request so far. So with that, I will turn it back over to the board, and we can go over any questions or comments you have about the resolution that's presented before you today.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Open for public comment?
I have no raised hands.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
I'll move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
And only comment, thank you for pulling this together and as you said, honoring the wishes to minimize any use of cannabis division staff. And appreciate that we have this opportunity to, one way or another, finally address these matters and then move forward. So thank you very much.
Supervisor Frazier?
Aye.
Supervisor Cox?
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan?
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler?
Aye. Last item on the open session agenda, Human Resources adopt a Trinity County Human Relations policy establishing a workplace violence prevention program, no fiscal impact.
Thank you, Chair. I will take care of this item as well as our HR director is on some much well-deserved time away this week. So the state implemented a policy in September of 2023, mandating by July of 2024 that employers in this case, Trinity County, established a workplace violence prevention plan, which includes 1 hour of annual training. And presented before you today is that policy. This is a very similar, or actually it's pretty much the exact same as the other 11 Trindle counties. We've been working with them to have some consistency across the small rural counties that Trindle represents. And this policy and some of this training has already been taking place. And with this policy, that will formalize our plan, make us in compliance with the state mandate and guidance, but also get our employees this important and critical training as well.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
All right, public comment.
I have no raised hands.
I will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve item F5 for human resources.
Oh, second.
Any discussion? Thank you.
Supervisor Gogan,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Cox,
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier,
Aye.
Chairman Lutwiler.
Aye. Let's see, I do believe I have a closed session report out from our last meeting. Item F.1, Government Code Section 54954.5F, Labor Negotiations, County's designated representatives, Layla Cassis, Margaret Long, and Susie Hawkins, Employee Organizations General Unit. And the direction to staff was the outcome. And government F2, Government Code Section 54954.5E, Public Employee Evaluation County Administrative Officer, was also direction to staff. And with that, we will look at closed session for today. One item, Government Code Section 54954.5C, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation, Number of Cases 1. And we'll open that for public comment.
Are you going to read what the litigation is?
Read what?
Read
What
the item.
litigation's for. It's on the next page.
Oh, sorry. That's why I don't like paper. Gotta flip the page. Should just be scrolling like over here. Sorry, and the balance of that information on the agenda is Westlands Water District 5. All persons interested in the matter of the contract between the United States and Westlands Water District, Fresno County Superior Court case number 19CECG03887. Thank you. Now, public comment.
I have no raised hands.
All right, that we'll move into closed session. Thank you.